Hello everyone, it's your boy Guil here, and today we're going to chat about our favorite Tekken 7 wallflower, Leo Cleason. Before I continue, I just want to get a quick little something out of the way. Leo, I'm going to refer to them as them, because every Leo video on YouTube has a whole bunch of nerds saying Leo's a he, Leo's a she, Leo wears a bikini in Tekken Tag 2. I'm like, man, it's so inconsistent. Every game it's different. I'm just going to refer to Leo as them, and if I'm wrong, I'm generally sorry, and I will make the correction in a future video. But yeah, so you guys clicked on this video and you probably thought one of 2 or 3 things. You were like, wow, this guy's smoking crack, no way is Leo top 10. Or you're like, oh wow, I think he might be onto something. Or you're like, well, this guy is really handsome, let me click on the video. Either way, I'm gonna explain to you guys right now my reasoning for why Leo's top 10. First of all, to just cover a few things, let me pull up this little tier list made by Book. Book made this tier list in April. Obviously, everyone's tier list is subjective, but this is more or less something that I think most people would agree with before patch 5.0 came out. You know, there might be some variants, you might want to put some characters up or down, but generally I would think most people agree with this. So Leo, first of all, I don't think has never been a bad character in Tekken 7. Leo in this patch got some pretty significant buffs. Also, very importantly, a lot of the top tiers got nerfed. We have Devil Jin, Fahkumram, Leroy, Lidia, they got significant nerfs. Then got Julia, Devil Jin, Geese. Akuma also got a nerf, you know, like he lost the counter hit launcher. You know, we can talk about that later, but he did get a nerf. Feng, including Master Raven as well, Kunimitsu. A lot of characters that most people would consider were stronger than Leo got nerfed. Then on the other hand, there were quite a few characters that were also most people would consider stronger than Leo actually stayed the same, like characters like Steve and Paul and Brian. Those characters basically the same besides the new wall crush mechanic. But Leo actually only went up in this patch, and compared to some other characters in this patch that got buffed, just from the top of my head, Lucky Chloe, Josie, Katarina, Eddie, Lars, I think Leo and Jack is an exception. I think Jack was good and is only going to be better now. But those other characters, their buffs just weren't enough for me, in my mind, I might be wrong, this is all conjecture, we'll see, for them to be really strong tournament contenders. But Leo's buffs, on the other hand, I think were really effective at really tying up this character. It's like a phrase, a term that I think is very important in competitive games or in fighting games, is like option coverage. Leo's option coverage became better in this game. In this patch, Leo became harder to counterplay, and the harder you are to counterplay, the stronger character you are. So with that combined, buffs, nerfs, etc., and also the specific buffs that Leo received, not only this patch, but also in the previous major patch, the Season 4 patch, I think Leo is nowadays perhaps could be considered a top 10 character. So let's get into that. I have my notes here. I'm mostly doing this off the cuff. The power of editing will probably make me look way smarter. So Leo got primarily 6 buffs. Quite literally, Leo got 6 buffs. One of them is not so relevant, and 5 of them are really relevant. So let me just go over the first one that is slightly relevant. Leo's, I believe Bach, I don't play this character, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Bach 3 right here, this stance 3, became Leo's wall crush. Solid, you know, why not? It became better, but it's not that significantly different because this was already, let's see, it did not become that much significantly different because this was already a heavy plus some block move that was already plus 10, and at the wall it was plus 10, and now it's plus 12. You know, great. Great, you know, 2 extra frames, but it's not a world of difference. A very heavy plus and block move is still very much plus and block, so we're not going to get hung up on that, but I just wanted to mention that. So, let's see. The first buff is one of Leo's lows got better. And one of the best ways, in my mind, to buff like a category of moves, mids or lows, is, you know, you might think like, oh, let's just like make this low. If you want to buff this character's lows, let's just make this character's lows better frames, better damage, better bullshit. But actually, another way to do it is just to buff their mids. If you make the mids stronger, the lows become stronger. The whole risk and reward kind of gets more favored into that character. And with Leo, they actually did both. They buffed both mids and both lows. So the first major buff that Leo got is down 2/3 right here. It is a high crushing low that is plus on hit. It is -12 on block. It is linear, but we'll talk about linearity later. And the buff that they made in this patch is that it used to be 23 frame startup, now it's 21 frame startup. And let's see. Got to be a little bit closer for that. And it is a counter hit launcher. It gives guaranteed follow-ups. So at the very least, let's see. There we go. You can do full crouch 3 for 38 damage. And then also, well, the YouTube curse. So what I was saying is, it can also be a counter hit launcher. Jesus. The YouTube curse, the combo. So there you go. If I didn't mess up the combo, Leo would have gotten to the wall. I would have gotten a wall splat and damage. But either way, it can be a 24. Look at the left, a 24 damage counter hit launcher. That's a very good low. When I think about comparable lows in this game, like Feng has down 2, comes out at a similar time. Also has a counter hit effect, can give a stomp, which is easy to do, or a mini combo for Feng's Enrage, but it's minus on hit. This is +5 on hit, which is very significant, which makes like Leo's while standing 3 uninterruptible, because it comes out at 13. Another comparable low that I can think about is like Devil Jin's down back 2, where he swipes at your legs. Comes out maybe a little bit slower, but it's also plus on hit. Also gives guaranteed damage afterwards, or even a rage art, I believe, when Devil Jin has that available. And Devil Jin's is -13, correct me if I'm wrong. Feng's is -12. Very similar lows, but I think this is so good. And those other lows that I mentioned are good too, but this is like even better, which is crazy to talk about. So they improved the startup speed, so it's just going to be harder to defend against. It's going to get counter hit less, and of course it has a very big counter hit effect on its own, so it being faster, you're going to get that counter hit more regularly in a match. And then to continue, let's see. Another low buff that they gave Leo is actually back 1/4. This right here, this became -12 on block. Right here, rather than -13. This move received both a buff and a nerf, but I think the nerf is almost negligible and the buff is quite good. So again, in matchups where they can launch -13 lows, like Kazuya, Josie, Eddie, might be a few others I might be forgetting about. This is big. And let's see, how much is it on hit? +3 is solid, but this is also one you want to get the counter hit on, because it's +14. That is the nerf that it received. It used to be +16. Now it's +14. I believe Leo players at the wall, they would get that counter hit, and then they would do a hop kick for major damage. In the open, I believe hop kick didn't work just because of the pushback. But remember this, +14. This goes into the next buff that I have here, is back 2, I believe. Yep, back 2 got buffed from 15 frame startup to 14 frame startup. And this is now a solid Punisher. Let's see. 32 damage. So damage-wise, it's alright. What's the range? Oh, don't follow me, bro. Let's see. The range is alright. But if you're punishing stuff on block, that's going to be pretty good. But it's really not about the damage. The damage is solid, but then it's +8. Right in their face. There's no pushback. +8 and they're in crouch. So that is a lot of mix-up potential right there. That's really mean. So Leo's 14 frame punish got better, but then remember, this is 14 frames, and this other move became +14. Let's see. Boom. 56 damage counter hits. Can't even key charge. Wow, I can't key charge. Wow. The YouTube curse. That's 56 damage off of that low counter hit. It's -12 on block. Super good. Probably why they nerfed it from +16 on counter to +14 is probably because of this next buff right here. Check this out. Down 4-2. This is probably the big one that ties everything together. You guys remember I spoke to you about a way to make lows stronger is to make a character's mid stronger. Down 4-2, it didn't use to launch on crouch. It was actually negative on crouchers. This is big because down 4-2 has a good chunk of range, great with Punisher, sometimes on block. It's -13 on block. Sometimes on block, it can be hard for certain characters to punish it depending on the pushback. And it also tracks both ways. It was already quite good, but like the not launching crouchers, you know, for Leo players is a bummer. Let's see. Okay, so check this. I'm gonna sidewalk left, boom, clips me. Sidewalk right, clips me. Tracks both ways. And this brings us back to option coverage. Before we continue on option coverage, by the way, another buff that Leo got is while standing 2 became 15 frame startup instead of 16, which just improves Leo's punishment game quite substantially actually, because Leo could launch -15 lows, but they had to use a hop kick, which actually doesn't have that much range, so sometimes some lows, well, now I'm landing every time, but Leo also has their hands stuck out. But sometimes there were some lows that you couldn't launch because of the pushback, and also while standing 2 deals 2 more points of damage. So it improves the punishment of a character that already had pretty good while standing punishment. Like Leo has that 11 frame right there, 34 damage knockdown, 34 damage wall splat. Depending on the range, you can combo. Leo has a 13 frame wall bounce, and now can launch at 15. So great. That's very solid. So yeah, back to down 4-2. I also mentioned the whole idea of option coverage. You know, like the characters that tend to be strong in this game, or really in almost any game, fighting games, are characters that are hard to play against. You know, are hard to counterplay. Leo already had really good lows for this patch. Leo has a homing hell sweep. Well, maybe I shouldn't say homing, tracking, but it tracks both ways. 36 damage knockdown. You know, if you want to go crazy, you can just do the first hit, and it's a counter hit launcher. Leo has, of course, don't sleep on generic down 4s. Let's see. Generic down 4s are powerful. Has that. Some characters don't have that. Leo has QCF1, the dab, which is -13 on block. High crushes. It's just nice. And of course, on counter hit, this has probably happened to you. 54 damage. Solid low. What am I missing? The lows I just spoke about. This one, I think down 4-2 +3 is crazy now. Going from 23 to 21, I think 23 is reasonably slow. 21 is very, very workable, especially with all of the pros that this low has. And then also this, let's see, what's the startup? 19 frames. Solid. Just all of those lows. Some of them are linear, some of them track. But then Leo was allowed to have such good lows because a very common strategy against Leo, to defend against Leo, would be to, let's see, let's just record this Leo. It would just be to sidestep, low block, low parry. Because Leo has pretty good mids, absolutely good mids, but some of them are linear, but then the major mid that Leo has is down forward 2. But if you just sidestepped low blocked, let me record that, let's just do down forward 1 and block. Let's see. For example, that used to be negligible. It would do a little bit of damage, 15 damage, but Leo would lose their turn because they would, like down forward 2 on crouch was actually negative on hit. And that's including buffed lows. It makes it so much harder to counterplay against Leo. Leo always has had solid mids as this, plus some block mid, you know, like this. And now just like sidestep low block is so much worse of an option because of down forward 2 tracking both ways and launching crouch nowadays. Let me just check my script, be sure that, just my notes, just to be sure I'm covering everything. Leo just kind of has a complete package. There are just like other things as well that Leo is just good at that makes it harder to play against them. They have solid punishment. Combo damage might be the thing that holds Leo behind. It's a bit low, but you know, I think compared to some characters, Leo can like launch you more consistently. Like, for example, I always like to pull up Lars. Lars has insane combo damage, but how often can he launch you is the other question. You know, Leo can launch people a bit more consistently than some other characters. So even though the combo damage might be lower than some characters, they can launch you. But then also Leo has some other sneaky things, you know, like the evasion on this right here, down 1+2 or transitions into this stance, can be crazy. I've seen this go underneath mids all the time. Something else, let's see, can I remember? Let's see. Leo has this like sidestepping. It's like Feng up forward 2, you know, where they sidestep an attack. They have that. Man, I just checked it before the video. Probably gonna edit this in right now. So this is that evasive move that I told you about that exists. There we go. All right, thanks. Let's continue. And then also, like, speaking about evasion, Leo has down back 3. This obviously goes under lows. Also, sometimes goes under mids and actually like goes backwards quite a bit, so things can just whiff and it launches. It is safe on block, you know. So Leo has quite a bit of nice things already, because that's the thing too. That's why I'm making this case for calling Leo a potential top 10. Leo was never bad. Leo was never bad. Even after some nerfs, I believe, between season 1 and 2, Leo was never bad. It was just like the top tiers were so out of control. If you're really like try hard tournament player and you really want to, like, you know, character choice really matters to you, trying to get the most potential out of a character, Leo just didn't quite cut it. But now with nerfs to those characters, very complete kit, they're harder to counterplay now. They have some insanely strong things. Leo, of course, has plenty of like strong like counter hits still, like this. There we go, you know, has a whole bunch of those to end in that. I think Leo's definitely a character to look out for. We'll see if top level players are gonna transition to Leo perhaps. Of course, AO Richie is probably the most famous Leo player that we have right now playing in competitions. Is probably very happy. Keep an eye on him. He's a very good player in general, so give him some buffs. But who knows? I'm really curious. So that is kind of like my my thesis. So let me know if you guys agree, disagree. Tell me your reasons why. I think that's most valuable. But I think I love creating conjecture. It's fun when these patches come out. A lot changed with this patch, so it's really curious to see how it develops over the year. But out of all of the characters that got buffed, I believe most in Leo to be a real contender nowadays. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, found it fun. Consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I do lots of cool videos. I have a lot of stuff out there. And I hope to see you next time. And let's end with a big down forward to... Thanks, guys.